Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the Village of Saxtons River Trustees Meeting.
All right, it is Monday, September 11th. I'm Amy Bullock, and I'm calling the meeting of the Saxtons River Village Trustees to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? They'll have to be ratified at a later meeting, but we put that on as a courtesy. Hearing none, we are ready for public comment. So briefly, someone from the village asked me whether the village has a policy on fireworks. This happened right after August 20th, when there was a short burst of fireworks about 10 at night. So
within the village?
well, it's hard to tell, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night. I heard it from Clark Court pretty clearly. You know, sound is funny here too.
Yes. Clark Valley, like second or third. I think it's really close to the game. Very close. That's a go ahead.
So south of Quarry Hill Road?
Towards the rec area.
Okay, so that is outside the village, right now? Except for the rec area.
Depends on what house it is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other public comments? Okay. I promised Anessa that we would do a treasurer update early, and then we will move on to the discussion of the expansion of the sewer district. So Anessa, where are we? And in particular, we're looking for advice on the fire department funds.
Right.
Funds for the feasibility study.
Can you hear me?
Let's turn you up just a little bit.
Yeah. So our accountants, outside accountant, we've met, Ron Smith, the independent consultant, and he provided me with a great consultation and information. I have a follow-up with him on this Wednesday, for setting up our charts of accounts the way they should be by his recommendation. So from there, I will continue going, working on our QuickBooks and readjusting them a little bit, that they will be in, all the activities would be assigned to proper general ledgers accounts. So this is in light of upcoming event audit for this past year, from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And for me going forward, would be much easier work to be done. With the collections of, anybody has any questions about that?
No.
Okay.
Nobody's signaling. Go right ahead.
So with the collections of property taxes for 2023-24 year, we're doing very well. I think my rough count, we're behind for about 11,000 out of total over 60,000. We collected a little bit, almost everything, but 11,000 short. We have a good response from mortgage companies that paid up. I provide them with all information. I think there's a little bit behind, like 5 people that I provided them just recently information, so they're a little bit late. With work with the accountant also will allow me to see where we stand with tax collections for this past year, and I will be able to provide that information to Dave. Hi, Dave. Thank you for your help. So I will have more sort of hands-on, more information, what is going on with our books with the past year, where people stand and how much we didn't collect or collect. So right now everything is manual, so it's hard to tell. So Ron is also will help us with recommendations to have less of bank accounts, right? Currently we have 11 So he will be presenting about 4. You know, we'll see where we will be. Maybe we'll go slow and have a little more and then less. We'll see. So that's that. Ellen and I working very well together. Our contact is, we establish very good contact communication. She goes to the post office, picks up whatever mail, sorts it out, sends me, brings it over, or I go to her, pick up the payments, and she puts the bills to our warrant and then gives it to me. If anything comes to me directly, I forward to her, if by email, so that she will have it in a warrant first, and then I will process the payments. So that's that. And Amy, regarding our $10,000, do you want to talk about it now for the?
Well, we have you here now and you need to leave the meeting. So with the permission of the group, we'll discuss how to fund the fire feasibility study, something we voted on last meeting.
Okay.
Go ahead, Anessa.
So from our accounts, I have a recommendation, and again, I'm not sure about the history of those accounts, but right now we have general fund money market with 34,000 balance, in the village of Saxtons River with 27,000, a little over 27,000. So those two accounts sort of match our, none of the accounts have a description of capital funding. So by elimination, I think those two, if anybody have any kind of history on those fundings, let me know. But those two accounts, I recommend to take the funds for fire station studies. Is that what you're looking for, Amy?
Comments, discussion? Matt, you've got a lot of history.
I didn't obviously see the last meeting, so this is originally we approved
5,000. Yeah.
Now we're upping it to what?
An additional 5. So the town manager came back to the 3 entities and said, it looks like we're gonna have to fund the city. We asked you to put in the same amount you put in before. Rockingham voted it, Bellows Falls voted it, and at the last meeting we voted it. So the question is where to fund it from. You go over this stuff with a fine-tooth comb, Carl, and I'm always pulling out the sheet from the annual report to look at what we have, which is, of course, this is the framework, the front-facing framework, and Anessa is talking about the back-facing framework. This is not an immediate need. We contacted the town manager after the vote, and he said, at some point I'm going to come to you. But we put it on the agenda to discuss where the fund should come from.
Now, did we decide where the first 5,000 was going to come from?
I think you have that marked already, Anessa, from something else you told me.
Right. Last time we've met, I have my notes, and it mentioned that feasibility development discussion we had moved 5,000 from village reserve account. So, and then I was waiting for the further discussion and directions from Amy. Oh boy, anybody needs to go. So that was the last discussion we had. Village reserve, and those two accounts that I mentioned, there could be served as a reserve, because the rest of them are operating accounts and like a money market. Well, sewer, basically they're all sewer accounts, money market.
Yeah, we don't want to get into the sewer side of the ledger.
Right.
Well, we have the fire station development fund, at least in what we budget. But I don't know what account that money is, because that's a separate account or.
So you have no notes, Anessa, that came to you from previous treasurers of how our front-facing accounts match up to what you have?
I do not. I had a quick meeting with Louise when I started, and she mentioned that the one with, hold on. So it's a 2112, so not 1549. So with the 34,000 was something set up for fire department. It's like a money market set up for the fire department. So in the past year, I checked the bank and activities. There was nothing, just interest paid to us.
So we have a fire department account for operating expenses, including training, dispatching, and mutual aid. We have a capital expenses for equipment and for the fire station, which includes construction of the new station. That's our fire department capital reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also identified in this report, fire station development, a reserve fund specifically for planning and construction of the new station.
Right. I think there's a difference between names of accounting in accounting software when you call it account, and those what you're looking at in your report, annual report. And there's a name of a bank accounts that are actually in a bank, so they're a little bit different. So first one with the 34,000 is general fund money market. That's the one Louise mentioned that was set up for fire department business, but it's a money market. And the other one is Village of Saxtons River. That's the name of those bank accounts in the bank with the 27,000. And there's no note from Louise about activities on that account.
And did you sit down with Sarah Campbell?
No, I did not sit down with Sarah Campbell.
All right. I think this needs to wait.
I would suggest contacting Ben Wallace
Yep.
to see.
Me contact Ben Wallace?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The 11 accounts.
Yeah. So was he a treasurer before Alex Barrett?
No, he was just.
Yeah. Do you know Ben?
I do, yes.
Okay. I think that would be great if you'd be willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I need to confirm with him what account in the bank means capital account in our annual report, correct?
Yeah, what we'd like to do is know how the bank accounts relate to what we
Right. Right. Okay.
And I think it would also be nice to know how much we, over the years, put aside into these.
What the balances
budgets.
are historically. Yeah. Well, we
In
have
the budget as opposed to the bank account.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we have annual reports back, as long as you want to take it. So we could construct it from that side.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have a number of them on your computer, I'm thinking.
I go back, I think, to 2019.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yes, in essence.
Do you have the hard copies of bank statements from the year before?
Yes.
Can I pick them up from you sometime?
Sure.
Okay.
This leads me to a revelation that seems appropriate. So I've been wondering how far back we have to keep, in particular, invoices. And it turns out there's a schedule of retention from the Vermont State Archives. And the answer is until the audit is done. So I assume for the wastewater treatment plant, we have to do large audits from time to time, right? So I wouldn't touch anything that related to them. But it seems to me that our regular audit is all we do on the general fund. So that means we can get rid of some of those old bills, and I have many of them. But yes, I'll hang on to the bank statements. You can look through the boxes.
Okay.
I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, sounds great.
Great.
Thank you, Emmy. Yeah.
Anything else for Vanessa while we have her here? Okay. Thank
All
you so
set.
much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, request to expand the sewer district. Jason Snell and Dave Moore, Jason contacted me. And I said, sure, come and make your pitch. Does everybody know Jason?
So,
So Matt, Carl, Kristen, Amy, Jean, Dave.
So we have the trailer park down the end of just the last spot in the village. We are at a kind of a weird floodplain down there, and we sometimes fight the issues of, keeping up on all the systems down there. There's 7 total. And we'd like
7 sewer systems?
there's sorry, 5. Right, sorry. And the thought is to maybe create a system that comes down the line, have a pump house, and sends it up the hill, which there's a man cover right at the top of it. That would provide an additional 7 to 10 households per year to this to the septic bills. We don't really know much. We just wanted to make sure, if it's something possible, we get an engineer for all without, the blessings from doing all that would be putting the cart before the horse. So.
Go ahead, Matt.
So you're going to bear all the costs of installation and
Yep.
maintenance. So it's going to be your system,
Right.
and just hooked up.
And basically, we bear all the costs with pump house, and then we'll have one line going up the hill, and that's eventually there has to be like 2 takes here. What we that's the idea, is to get it to the end of the property line and pump it right up to that manhole that's right at the top of like Vancouver Drive.
Vancouver Drive, or else go straight to the next road,
Right.
Westminster Street, whatever one's works out the best. So a couple things. One, right, the village isn't going to bear any cost at any time.
Right. Oh,
With the whole setup and the maintenance of it.
okay.
I know you talked to Rob, I talked to Rob also, so
Okay.
it's going to be yours until it goes into
To
the existing,
Okay.
wherever that is.
So we do have
Yeah.
Rob here.
Oh,
So after the questions, let's make sure we
Um,
include him in the
So
discussion.
I don't see any problems with that. As far as historically, when a new hookup comes online, they have to pay a hookup fee.
Okay.
So and I don't know where we are with that. It's been different numbers over the years. I don't know when's the last time we had a hookup, but it's typically per hookup.
Right.
You have single family units down there, and then you have a business down there.
Right.
So again, in the village, we have residential
And
fees, and we have commercial that are based on number of employees. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So
Yeah.
because we don't have any meters, so it's
Right.
something that's been used since they put it in.
Nope, I understand all that, and we can figure out which, most of the trailers are just single
Yeah.
folks, but I don't know, town, plus there's stick out of somewhere. Right.
Yeah, and it's not that the number of people are in there, it's just like one trailer is one
Right.
hookup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would you offer a gallon fee versus a residential? I mean, it would be prohibited to me to have to pay $7,000.
Right.
I don't see how that could even work, because the rent's down there for so long. To cover that.
We'd have to calculate the gallon fee, the extra.
Yeah, if there is that gallon fee, it would be single people.
So we don't have a gallon fee. We
Yeah.
don't have a measurement
Maybe
of
advertise.
discharge.
I mean, they probably use.
Right. Well, it would be unfair for all the people that have been on the system, like the house that I'm in is a duplex. Lona Frappia lived there for years by herself. She didn't use it.
Right.
Right, and so I'm charged for 2 hookup fees, but you take that one person, and then you have a family of 4 or 5.
Right.
So there's a discrepancy there. I don't think well, I can't say no, but historically, we haven't done a gallons fee because,
And we would have to just take all the numbers coming in,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
answer being, oh, we would accept you guys to come online, and then we can calculate everything, you know, and come up with a financial
yeah,
feasibility of what's best to do.
Right.
We just didn't, or I'm just more interested in taking it into one spot instead of having all these, you know.
When you talk about fee, so that would be one line coming, so.
well, one unit down there, one trailer,
It would be,
would be a hookup.
But we're gonna pay for all that in. We're only gonna pay for.
Right, but all the units down there have
Yeah.
not paid for the plant in the past.
Okay.
So
that's true.
the hookup fee is just like you're buying it, you're late to the game and you gotta pay a fee to hook up to it.
do we have an idea what that fee is for?
Um,
Do you have records on that?
we could,
I-
I think it's, you know,
Might
I
be,
think
might
it's
be Ben Wallace.
something- yeah.
We can go back historically and look.
I mean, did the system put in like 1972 or something?
yes.
And did you mention the figure $7,000? Where did that come
Well,
from,
don't you
Jason?
pay $700 per fee right now?
I thought I
You're
heard
right,
7,000.
right, so times 10, 7,000.
Oh, times.
Right,
That's
seven
right.
trailer, contingent the house, and then, you know, you get.
So that's a reasonable number to have.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. Many questions to be answered for sure, even like the engineering of it and all that. And I would bear the cost of getting it designed and seeing if it will even work financially too. It's not something that's happen overnight for sure. Something has to happen, either a big system down there to take everything in one big leach bed.
Well, I'm happy to be the person that says, I think this makes a lot of sense, given what we're struggling with in terms of the climate. You're upstream from the wastewater treatment plant, you're upstream from the village, and taking care of that waste appropriately seems to me like a really good move.
Everything's in working order. It's just more of a, you know, a general maintenance, and the truck comes down and, you know, really, you know, get them everything, a little extra hiccup, you know, or just a little time to figure when the high wires, and they just flood there. So,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is there like action? Needs to hit the motion.
Sure.
Okay, so I make a motion that can be approved, that we, vote to approve, or give, you know, conditional approval to hook into the, sewer system, you know, pending your engineering studies to see if it's feasible.
Right.
In theory. Yes. That's a really bad motion, actually.
Well, I guess if you're gonna do this by motion. Do we need it do you need it for us to say yes tonight or?
Oh, no, I mean, I just,
For you to-
instead of investing a bunch in the
Yeah.
engineering of it, and like, you know, even doing the calculations, it's just time.
Yeah.
Where I would either go one way or another way.
Right.
You know, just a hypothetical, yes, would work for me to like invest time and energy into it, but I just don't want it to come back, you know, and make a couple of $10,000. and then
Show up with the
it's
goods and,
like,
yeah.
all right, well, this is possible.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a single line coming from that property.
Yeah.
To the manhole, and then you're gonna be like, oh no, we're, you know.
Yeah.
I understand a lot of the costs, and so does Dave, and, you know, we're both kind of invested interest in the property, and we still have to like discuss a lot of things, but it's more of like just making sure we're not wasting money in one direction when I really should be going in the other.
Where's the hookup? Is it right on the?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's right around, well, there's a house right there, there's two houses, so I don't know where the manhole is.
Okay,
It's on, Western West Road,
it's on the, yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
and that would be the last.
Or, you know, it might be.
It's gotta be us, it's gotta be us.
But, you know, the property line for us is just top of the hill behind all the subdivision up there, and so it's relatively close. It wouldn't be affecting any road. Maybe we would have to figure out where the best path would be too.
Right.
There's, you know,
So an engineer would figure out whether it's
Right.
okay to come around the corner on the van corner. Or
Right.
do you need to continue just as far as
Right.
pipe size or pitch or
Right.
whatever?
And it would be pumped up, so basically everything kind of, I talked to a few engineers already, the process and the thoughts are going and moving in action, but no, like, all right, go this direction. But it is to be pumped up from, you know, everything gathers down there and up the hill it goes. And that would all, you know, we're thinking that would be on our power, obviously everything is ours, we're just getting rid of it down the line.
Yep.
So I don't know that we need a motion at this point, and it might give us more freedom. If we
Yeah, because you don't
didn't
want to put
have
a lot of wording in there, just, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
But
have. a
let's
problem.
make, yeah, preliminary approval, definitely. Carl, do you want to add anything? I know we're talking about the sewer fees tonight, and I'm assuming you're wearing a sewer fee hat over there.
Oh, well, sure. So expenses would be the only objection that I would see to it. I don't think there's a problem with our adding.
Wouldn't it be a boost to the village to have 10 more users?
It would reduce the cost to the other users a little bit, yeah.
Particularly if
Sure.
you're picking up the connection.
I guess the question, and this would be one for Rob, was, do we have the capacity of the plant to handle 10 more users?
So we just happen to have Rob sitting here. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, you have the capacity.
Do you want to
Yes.
make any other comments? I mean, you're the guy who actually knows about these things.
No, I think it's a smart idea to hook that lower system on to the system. It just gets more septic tanks out of service and tie the system onto our system. But yeah, the plant has plenty of capacity.
I would echo the comment. I don't see any way that we could do a gallon use charge, unless we found a way to do gallons for the branch.
We don't have to do this.
I just don't see that. And the sewer fees now for a user are, well, I think it's gonna be $774 for the coming year.
And what about for commercial?
Oh, that's.
Yeah, it's kind of based on
That's,
number of employees. And, but,
Well,
of course, yeah.
Well, how big
Is
is
that not
I
subcontract?
have 14, but they don't show the shot.
Right.
Yeah, but they're on the low ground.
I have different trucks, but we can just.
So you're not even, yeah, okay, anyway.
Okay, I've got one more thing to throw in, hand that over. Apparently the state of Vermont is thinking the same thing you're thinking, that we've got a lot of small, they call them manufactured homes, groups of manufactured homes. So there's actually a Zoom meeting on Wednesday to look at ways to fund improvements. So, I mean, the timing would be great if thought.
We looked at that, they have tax of $15,000. They, you know, look at continue with the plan, which is a drop in the bucket.
So this is the most recent thing. I just saw this.
That was a couple of living months in that.
Well, yeah.
But I'll look into this too. This could be something new to.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have trouble with the arrangements, Gary Fox is our go-to for how all the grants and water and applications goes.
In the village here.
Gary Fox works for the town of Rockingham.
Okay.
So he's available to you. I can give you his contact information. He's a busy guy, but he really does care about this kind of thing, working appropriately. All right, any other comments? Rob, are you staying for the meeting? Should we give you a chance for a wastewater treatment plant update?
I wasn't going to stay for the meeting, but yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I certainly can ask them.
How are we doing?
As far as an update, everything is the fine screen is back online. As far as it's hooked up, it ended up being, I believe it was wires that were in the conduit. We pulled new wires. There was something wrong with the wires that were there. So pulled new lines. Tom Allen came down from LCS and hooked it back up. Got it back up and running. So that's back up and running. But everything else seems to be doing well at the plant. So.
Okay. Question for Rob?
Nope.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys are welcome to stay. Don't feel like I'm kicking you out, but you're also welcome.
They wanted to see someone. Did. There was a lot of discussion at those meetings. So they must have.
I have no idea. Yeah, it's horrible.
So that's nice that it's short.
Yeah. One peculiar thing, we actually don't have a rescue vehicle in the village at the moment.
Okay.
We are having it put on a new truck chassis, a new cab chassis. So it's up in Claremont, I think.
Yes.
And I don't know if that has an impact on the siren or it went off Saturday and 3 minutes later I saw the rescue vehicle heading up Hartley Hill. So
I'll ask her.
yeah, Art Smith or Nick Bush.
Dialed it back a little bit, but she
Yeah, I hesitated to ask, and I checked in with somebody who's, part of that fire group, and he said he wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So,
I'll ask her.
okay, go for it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we are up to the sewer fee. Setting the sewer fee rate and due date.
Okay,
We have a rate?
so I will apologize to you that I went to print out all of my summary of all the rates in my printed out.
It's okay, just tell us.
So, okay. Well, it's a little more complicated than that. I went through a bunch of information from the town. And there are a couple of anomalous properties I wanted to discuss what to do about.
Mhm.
So when Angela came to talk to us, we told her, it's your status change with the town, that's what we go by. Which she did. But we have a couple of other properties where the town's status and what we have been doing are not the same. Two of them, well, one of them is number 1 Pleasant Street. That's one of the Buckland properties. 5 River Street, which is Kenny Lawrence's. Both of those are listed with the town as being 2-unit buildings, and we have been billing them as 1. There is a note on the sheets that I got from Ben saying that these are billed as single units, but I don't know why that is.
Okay. So 5 River Street, which is right next to my house, was a single family house, and it is now 2.
It is now 2.
Yeah, it has been for a couple of years.
For the last 2 or 3 years, we have been doing it as 1, so he's going to get a shot.
I think that's fine. If it's 2 units, it should be billed as 2.
Right.
Do you know about 1 Pleasant Street?
I have a feeling that 1 Pleasant Street was up for sale. What we need is somebody who's up on all the gossip. Is that the big white house as you start up Pleasant Street? So there's
Right.
the brick house,
Right.
and then there's the first white property house. Or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it wasn't for sale, maybe it was for rent.
Yeah, it
Or
was
immediate
right.
rent. Okay, I stand corrected.
And so what was the question about that?
Is it a one-
So the town gets the code of 102, which means it's 2 units. Duplex or a bed and breakfast, whether, means it has 2 bathrooms and 2 kitchens, is how they determine that. We have been billing it for the last previous 3 years actually, 2020, 21, and 22, as 1 property, one unit, not 2.
Right. So the other thing is how, so they have it as 2.
Did they
But
change it
depends on-
recently, like, or did the town always have it?
I
I,
only had access to the current year records. It took the listers a little bit of doing to pull this up.
well, so they would have paperwork that shows it as duplex.
Somewhere.
As well, as far as zoning, like people come and say, you know, we've had a bed and breakfast zoned as 2, you've got to go and have the change of use permit done to make it a single family. Just paperwork with the town. So if it's listed with the town as 2 units, that's what it should be built for. And
Okay.
I'm sure we'll get a notification if the owner doesn't.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
The town records makes sense.
That's fine, and I'm happy to do that. I just wanted to make sure, because that affects what grades
Right.
for everybody.
Yeah, and I don't know, historically, if that is too well.
All right.
It's been one on the records as far as, this is the first time I've actually gotten records from the town and gone through them. The treasurer has done this sort of work before and has just given me any corrections to the sheet. So.
Well, the treasurer's been doing a lot, so
That's right,
I
that's
think
why
this
I
is
did-
great if you're willing to
And
be
I would
our.
say thank you for doing that.
Well, I wanted it to be right. Now, Schreiber's, 4 Pleasant Street came to us and requested and the board approved the reduction from 2 units to 1 unit. They're still listed as 2 units with the town.
What's the date of the listing?
It's this year.
So we don't know if it's September 3rd or.
Well, but we approved this over a year ago. So what it means is that they didn't change their status with the town.
They didn't go and have
They didn't-
change the use
they
permit.
didn't-
That's what we've asked for.
Okay.
If
Well,
it's zoned as 2, it's 2.
We voted, the board voted to reduce it from 2 family to 1 family. But what I would recommend doing is enclosing a note with their sewer bill saying you need to update your use with the town, because that's what we go by.
Okay, I think that sounds like.
Well,
it's in
yeah,
line
it should
with
be,
other-
it should say, if have not done a change of use,
Yeah.
you will receive another bill. You will
Yeah.
be billed for 2.
I think we bill for 2 and say, show us proof that you've changed the use.
Right, but if we do that in 2 of these, and then they both come back and say, no, it's single, then we have to already set the rate, now you've lost 2.
Okay, so it's a
770.
practical consideration.
So I don't know what we do. with
And if we
those.
voted to go from 2 to 1, just saying. We noticed the town still has an exact, but what's in the unit, and you need to change that.
I mean,
Right, you need to,
I don't,
we need this documentation.
I don't think that we can, well, I have a problem with, telling the people for Pleasant Street that, we're going to be going in for 2 again, because we said for purposes of the sewer, we will accept it as 1. So
Right.
maybe we should just say you need to file the change of
Change
use permit,
permit.
or you will get
Yes,
billed for 2
yes,
subsequent
yes, and we
years.
need to see a copy.
Yeah.
Well, so then what do we do with 1 Pleasant Street? If we've been billing for 1, it's listed as 2,
Well,
we're kind of late to the game here.
as far as I know, we never told
The
told
owner,
the owner that that we would consider just a single property.
Right, but 3 years or the
Oh, at least
last
3 years.
2 years if we've been doing it.
That's what we've been built, that's what we built it as well. We didn't catch what their status was. We're making the correction. Again, we can.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. If it goes up for sale and it's listed as a duplex, to get people to buy it, then they've been paying a single and.
Yeah.
Again, getting this late and not being able to call the owner or contact the owner and say, hey, what's the deal? You're gonna get billed for 2. Because it's listed as 2.
Well,
So I don't know what to do.
we can, for that property and also for he wants is we can say, we've been billing you for one, you're listed as a duplex. If you don't get a change of use, you will get a second bill in 6 months.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah, for both.
Mhm.
Yep.
So do you
For,
have the ability to tailor those bills
Um,
or to
good question,
create a
because I have,
notice that goes in? Because the bills are printed by the treasurer.
no, they're not.
No?
We have to print those. They do the tax bills, but not the sewer bills.
The Saxtons River treasurer.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yeah. Well, I'll talk to her about that.
Okay, she does her printing at the fire station, which is completely appropriate.
Yep.
We pay for the cartridges and the paper, so,
Yeah.
and the printer, right? So,
So I've already talked to her about what she wants me to send her,
Mhm.
because I have no idea what her mail merge program looks like.
well, she's got a better one and a good computer now,
Yeah,
and I think she's good at using it too.
so,
You'll take care of.
I'll
creating-
take care of creating something, and I would just make it a separate insert with the bill,
Yeah.
and not try to print it out.
Are those the only two that were?
Bill?
Oh,
So the other one is Schreiber's, which I think we approved them,
Right.
but I think we should tell them they have to get their listing done.
Right.
Okay,
Seems to me they've had their,
well.
but it could be something that the town didn't
It could
go
be,
through
it
and
could
and
be,
click
yeah,
to, make it one.
yeah. The other one that, is questionable is, Simon's property at 4 School Street. Sort of a dilapidated property. It's listed as a single unit, but for the last couple of years, we've been billing it as 2.
No, that's been used as to,
Okay,
I don't know, but it's been a lot of, there's the main house and then there's, I think, an apartment over the garage,
okay, that's,
but
You're saying the town.
the town has it as a single. They would have it because,
and the notes say that it was communicated to the trustees, that,
no, that's the Graves
Oh, okay.
property, that's Angela, just to say that she came to us and,
all right.
and asked which address.
So we changed it in
We'll-
last year,
We will change hers, we'll change this year, because she's changed with the town.
talking about sign
Simon's,
per town records.
the town records say it's a single family. And we charged it last year and the year before, and the year before that is 2. This one is what I'm proposing for the current year. But,
Where are they as far as paying?
we do not have our delinquent person here.
I don't know. I don't know if this is one of the properties that there's past due payments on or not.
Just, that's just the opposite, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to,
I think
we have to,
we
Yeah.
don't-
no, it's
No,
it's
it would be
going with,
We're relying on how the town is keeping records.
yeah. Because if there is an issue and they look into it, like with 1 Pleasant Street, we're saying, hey, it's 2.
we want to have the same.
We want to be able to, yeah,
Was, yeah,
so.
okay. That reminds me, and I meant to say this when Inessa was here, we do have a relationship with VHFA, Vermont Housing Finance Authority, so that people with overdue property taxes or overdue sewer payments who fall into an income category are able to get help with those payments. And that's been used by residents, not just during COVID. So
Mhm.
we continue to offer that as a helpful situation for people who qualify.
Is that something that, if Vanessa has the fleet, could be put on the bill?
Good, sure. Um,
Okay, so What I have is that the properties that are listed with the town as 2 units and that have been billing as 1, we will bill as 1 and say, if you don't get this changed with the town in 6 months, you'll get a second bill.
Okay,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the one that's been billed as 2 and the town has listed as 1.
we have to follow the same rule. That's what I'm hearing from you.
So we should say that, what should we
Well,
say?
they're gonna, if they're listed as 1, they're not gonna say, oh, okay, we go get listed as 2, so we pay more.
Yeah,
I don't.
You can notify the listers that you have confusing information on this property and they've been paying this too. It's a good idea.
yeah, okay. So then what I would suggest to do is continue billing it as 2 and tell the listers,
They
because
pay
they've
the
asked,
date.
they've asked for any corrections on the list.
Okay,
So I'll,
so that covers this.
okay. Okay, so if we, following that, I would propose then that we set the sewer rate at, $772, which is putting only that for School Street property at 2,
Mhm.
with the, keeping in mind that we could conceivably get an extra $2,100 in 6 months.
Yeah.
But I don't think we want to work that into the budget.
So how does 700, and you've made a motion, correct?
Second.
So, and Matt has seconded, thank you. So the motion was to set the sewer, I'm going to say fee rather than
Sewer
rate.
fee, yeah.
The sewer fee at $772 per year. Okay, and Matt has seconded that, and we are ready for discussion. So how does this compare to last year, Carl?
Okay, last year, the fee was $751. The year before that, $732. So the fees have gone up, went up 2.6% last year, 2.8% this year. The budget went up 1.3% last year, 4.1% this year. That's a big jump, but there were quite a few price increases for us, plus, the normal price for the contract with Bellows Falls. You may or may not remember that we went back and approved 2 different budgets for the sewer plant. We went through after the first one and were able to cut some back. The original budget was 7% above. The increase in the fee is fairly consistent. We did have an increase in billable units this year. Some of that from increases in enrollment at VA, increases in enrollment at the elementary school, and the opening of the restaurant for seating. Which the 13 burger and smokes.
So are they being billed?
They will be, yep.
So,
Oh, Harold will be billed, he owns the.
so how was that calculated? Or did you?
Well, I was afraid you would ask that.
Well, no, I don't need real specifics, but it's not just one user, right? It's
No,
business
it's,
as far as seating
it
and all
comes,
that.
yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
they come as something like close to 3 users.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So
As it should be.
it reflects how many meals they serve.
Yep.
On how many days a week.
Yep.
And how many employees they have and what their seating capacity is.
Yep. Good.
So their seating capacity is 45, in
Yep.
case you're curious.
Yep.
Yeah, and what about the inn?
The inn is still closed. I have not
But
calculated.
we billed them during COVID, didn't we?
We bill them as a business, but just the $772.
Okay.
So I have a question, is that 772 just for residential properties? So should our motion say?
That is the base unit. Okay,
So it's per unit.
that, so
Commercial units are that figure times whatever.
commercial units are the larger of the base unit or, a calculated value depending on the size of the business, which Matt had just asked. So everybody pays at least $772. That's the base rate. Bigger users pay more. So Vermont Academy pays something like 40,000.
Okay, but it's not necessarily a figure times that base price.
No, it's not.
Takes all those factors in. Like
Okay.
you said.
It takes a lot of different
Employees,
things.
heating.
Got it. Okay.
Lot of different things into account. So when we say we set the sewer fee, what we're really saying is the base user unit fee.
Okay.
And it goes through a lot of manipulations after that, which it took Ben 2 years to explain. To me.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Just interject, it's $2 a day.
$2 a day, 365 days a
About,
year.
yeah.
It's
Well,
reasonable.
welcome to the 30-year loan on the sewer plant.
Well, $2 a day. I mean,
Yeah.
the choice is either $2 a day or get yourself an outhouse.
All right, we have a proposal on the floor. Other comments from the public? Other comments from the board? Okay, the proposal that Carl made, the motion that Carl made is to set the base unit sewer fee at $772 per year. All in favor? That's unanimous, all four of us. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And a due date. Do you have a recommendation, Carl?
I would recommend the end of October 30th.
Does it make a difference to you what day of the week it is?
To me personally, no.
October
October 30th is a Monday.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter to me, 30th, 31st. I just thought the end of the month
Okay.
was a convenient time.
Typically, because this is later date, billing, typically.
Yeah, typically it would have been about a month earlier,
And with a due date of what?
or would have been a due date of about a month earlier. So it would have been, it's about 5 or 6 weeks from the time we send the bill out.
Yeah, I had 3 calls about this, the last one today. Did I miss the sewer bill? You know,
Yeah.
and for all of them, I've gone through what happened. You know, we were late with the property taxes because there was that one-time state thing. Rockingham went through it very methodically. We've been waiting on them. We've been going methodically. So I think October 30th sounds good to me. So
Now,
Carl, is that your motion
Pardon?
to set the due date at October
Okay,
30th?
I moved that we set the due date for October 30th.
So,
I'll make Kristen a second on that. Further discussion. We'll get some jokes about Halloween, I'm sure, but that's fine. Okay, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Carl, all opposed? None opposed, so it passes unanimously.
Now, I would like to make a comment here.
Okay.
For convenience and calculating. It's worked out very well to do the bills at the beginning of September. Because at the beginning of September, Vermont Academy knows exactly what their enrollment will be. The school knows exactly what the enrollment will be. If we can do it, I would like to make passing the sewer rate at the first meeting in September to be a normal schedule.
I agree, because earlier on, they're in mid, everything, right? And so their numbers can vary
Yeah.
quite a bit.
So I think that we went with the best estimates VA could give us, but their enrollment actually ended up being higher than they had predicted. I wasn't going to chase it down for $50, whatever it comes to, but I think it's better to have it more accurate.
Okay. I'm sure the minutes will reflect that comment. Okay.
I don't think they will.
And I think it would be helpful to have it like that. We want to be able to look back and agree that Yeah, the first meeting in September is the right time, and if we start putting it out, then people will be less surprised every year when it happens.
Yeah.
And it's a good reason, so we should. Okay, an update on the solar issues. So, we voted at the last meeting to go with the Nova Solar, project, at the gravel pit. I called Alex Bravakis, right after that meeting, even before I had arranged for legal review, and he said, oh, sorry. Friday I heard from the other player in this game, and that contract was no longer available for you. So Kristen had discussed with Novus the possibility of doing our own project here. That would be probably 2 years from now before anything happened. It would involve, they need at least an acre of property, and we discussed this at the last meeting, if you recall. The difficulty of predicting what would happen, you know, whether there's enough sun at the solar plant, which is down at the edge of the woods, how long it would take, what the term would be. There is another project, the one we discussed at great length, the project that runs between Quarry Hill Road and Route 121. And that project would return 7%. So that is the difference in a project that's kicking off now versus the project that was already in works, the Nova Solar. It's not the difference that it's Green Lantern doing one and it's Nova Solar, it's what the state allows. So I pressed that point to make sure that I understood it clearly. So we are back to square one. Because Inessa had already pulled the figures from Green Mountain Power of what we paid Green Mountain Power over the last year, she had them available and we sent them to Green Lantern. So they're in possession of those figures and it looks okay for them. But our return will be less because we don't have a 10% of our bill being discounted. We have 7%. So the question is, what should we do?
I do have a question.
Yep.
And maybe you know the answer, but I thought Alex had sent an email that said we had also a site, and it doesn't make sense. That was a brownfield. I don't know if it was his, like a Novus site. Would we have interest in that one?
So I missed this. It's a good thing you're reading these things closely.
Oh, okay.
So this is a Novus, site.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know that it might not already be sent out.
I think it's on their contract, isn't it?
Pardon me?
I think they're planning for it, but I don't think it's in place, is it?
So it might not be, so that's why I was wondering if it made sense for him to come and talk to us about it. But if that's the one that's 2 years down the road, I have to in August, end of August, the email. But I know you got, I think it was to both of us.
Here it is. August 27th. Your memory is excellent. We are currently, so this is from Nova Solar, Alex Bravakis. We are currently working on the CPG permit for a 150 kilowatt canopy system on a brownfield site that is now used as parking for a neighboring school. This will be a fun project to build and see come to fruition. We don't expect to build this project until next spring, which would mean savings to the village around 1 year from now. I'm happy to provide more details on that project if you would like to look at becoming a member there. Additionally, I would like to take a look at any village-owned land and buildings in Saxtons River to see if we could find a site that would be a good fit for a small project. About an acre to work with, I'm happy to explore any and all pieces of property that the village owns. Let me know what you think the best way to proceed is. So thank you, Kristen. So that would be a year for you. The Green Lantern project is down. And as I think Peter Bergstrom warned us, as time goes on, these things change. It's possible that the return will change. I mean, I think the rates have been going down. It's possible they'll go back up, but we're looking at, making a decision now, buying into, now I'm annoyed at myself that we didn't show when we were but you can always get pulled out. And we're not an ideal project because we're so small.
Need action on this tonight?
Up to you.
Did Green Lantern say that, is it the same like time crunch? You have all these, you have other people interested, we need to know, or you'll, it's a first come, first serve.
And that's their project up here off of Pleasant Valley.
Yeah. So again, the
Is that the one?
it's Sam Carlson. So the advantage we have with a local project is it makes them look good. If they can say, one of our off-takers is the village of Saxtons River. I mean, you remember how indignant people were who were right in that vicinity about seeing solar power plants. So in this case, I think the panels are now running down to 121. They're not as visible. So this is Dan Carlson. We already have an off-taker ready to purchase all the net metering credits from the Quarry Hill Road solar array at this rate. But as a company, we like it when the hosting town can participate and benefit as an off-taker. As for timing, it's hard to know how long the Public Utility Commission will take to review and rule on our application. We have had CPGs, or certificates of public good, CPGs issued in 45 days and others in 12 months. It is a bit of a black box. That said, we hope to have our permit by midwinter, such that we could reach our commercial operations date by June, July 2024. It could be a few months sooner or later, depending on the Public Utility Commission and weather.
So, what's the buy-in? I don't recall from what's gone, the Novus one. What are the terms?
So I don't think I have a contract yet from Green Lantern.
The Novus was
Right. We just have to sign on the dotted line.
Yep.
Yeah,
Doesn't cost us anything.
no,
Well, we are indicating that we are going to be an off-taker. It
Right.
doesn't cost us anything.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we sign up for Green Lantern for in the solar field array, solar array.
Quarry Hill Road.
Project.
Is there a second to that motion? I'll second it. Okay, discussion. Are you feeling bird in the hand? That's what I'm feeling.
What did the motion say again?
Matt moved that the village of Saxtons River sign up to be an off-taker for the Green Lantern project.
Should we say again, subject to our last one, subject to the insurance and ruling of contracts?
I think I said that too. Did you write that down?
I have. That's what it says.
My only hesitation is, but I do think a Burning Man is worth through the bush, but I feel like if they were talking like 2024, I'm just still curious if Alex can come and talk to us about that other plan, what the timing is and with 10%, but I don't want to like delay things and then have Cleveland and say, you know, we've taken somebody else, we don't know what to do them. So that's where I'm struggling.
I think I'm feeling burned by the fact that we locked out on the other contracts. And that is motivating me to try and get these payments coming in sooner rather than later. You spent a great deal of time educating us on the issues around solar projects. And I'm still appreciative of that work. You know, we couldn't buy ourselves a cookie.
You're locked in.
Yeah, but you're locked in, but also investigating, you know, are there some people who aren't locked in? And I think the answer is no. I mean, I certainly, that's what I took away from your presentation.
So the out is the
They turn it
turn. Well, they turn us down for
or
after
the legal attorney
review,
says,
you just say, like that, pass.
yeah.
Wait another year for something.
Carl,
Just a question, if we were to build an array on village property, or notice were to build an array on village property, would we get fee for the use of the property? Because I'm sure that the people who own the cornfield up off of Corey Hill aren't just letting them put those panels there out of the goodness of their hearts, or for 10% cut on their electric bill. I'm sure they're getting a lease.
The answer to that is yes. I think that's yes.
I don't know if we want to do that, but that would be a consideration if we wanted to, get our 7% plus a little more.
yeah, in August, when we considered this, we thought it was going to be a lot of messing around for.
No, I agree. I'm not sure it's a good idea, but it's the only way I would see that we would get a bigger return on it. I'm not suggesting that we should do it. Here's the question.
Okay. Members of the audience, comments, thoughts?
The only thing I thought of was, you know, it's a statement of values, right? That the community supports some
Solar energy?
Yeah, because of climate change and all our other things we can't cut back on. You know, we have to go, you know, how many miles to get whatever we need. And, you know, and so at least we're doing something, even if you don't get a big return. It's a statement that you get what you can get from where you can get it.
It's easier than building a wind tower.
It's not noisy.
They got the road, you know,
And there is an actual return, you know, that's the other thing. It's money coming in that offsets our expenditures. Yeah.
And future trustees or the village could theoretically still research or have an array built on village property and not be a taker, but get a lease years. And other properties in the village could be takers instead.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the property that was Eric Shelton's, I asked about that when he did some energy work for me, and he said, I have 8 users for that property and a waiting list people who would love to be users, and that's all it's set up for. So there is demand, and perhaps as time goes on, we can use to do it. Are we ready for a vote? Okay, the motion reads, we move to have the Village of Saxtons River sign up as an off-taker with Green Lantern for the project on Quarry Hill, subject to an attorney review of it. All those in favor signify with a hand, and then are there any opposed? So it's unanimously passed. Okay, update on legal review. I have gone to the League of Cities and Towns. They have been advised not to review contracts, so they no longer provide that service. I can see what the town of Rockingham is doing. I think I wrote to the town manager and never heard back, but that's a simple matter of finding out who's handling it. Any of you know offline who's doing it? No.
No, but if the town already has a contract that is vetted and approved,
Ooh, good point.
I would do a comparison, and if it's not, if it's pretty substantially the same.
So it would be a Green Lantern contract.
The town, who is the town, what entity does the town?
I don't know.
Down in the
Yeah, so if it's
No, I mean, their solar contract is with what?
I don't know. Yeah. But I'll ask. And the schools have also mostly done contracts, so we can find out. You know who would know this stuff right off the bat? Peter Bergstrom.
Okay.
There was another Green Lantern project off, I'm gonna say it's either Davidson or Ski-Bowl.
Yeah, like the ski bowl.
Is it Ski-Bowl?
Seems like that.
Yeah, so I suspect there may be local off-takers for that too. So I will check with Peter and I'll check with Scott Pickup. Peter Bergstrom and Scott Pickup and see if we can get to a better approved contract to compare. And of course, I will write to Green Lantern, Stan Paulson. Okay, we're moving right along. The ARPA review. We discussed at a fairly recent meeting the request from Greater Rock Area Services for funds from the Village of Saxtons River to be used in the installation of a wood-fired boiler. I looked up the ARPA figures, and we have allocated, I think it's 94,000. It's in the minutes for the annual meeting. So our ARPA balance is $148,910.77. The trustees spent $2,585 to purchase the EHR reporting software for the Fast Squad, and we obligated $92,085 to repair and upgrade the rescue truck. And recently we signed a check for, I think it's $58,000 for that amount. So I would like to make the motion that the the Village of Saxtons River allocate $10,000 of our ARPA funds to Greater Rock Area Services to be used in the installation of a wood-fired boiler at Greater Rockingham Area Services. Is there a second for that?
I will second that.
So we have a motion and a second. And we can discuss.
Well, I sent Carl, you and Amy an email with numbers that Art Smith had. Are we ready for discussion?
Yes, we absolutely are.
So, some time ago, we were discussing all of this, and I said, what do we need, because we have this ARPA money?
Yep.
And I didn't have your email, so there's a list of, it shows a different number for the chassis, but you know, the request that is needed by the fire station exceeded the money. It totaled $159,000. So as you know,
You are a very effective advocate for both fire and
yeah, so I'm just, you know, little, you know, kind of blinders on. Fells Falls does what their ARPA money, what they want to do, and Rockingham the same, which I think some of it is, or bulk of it is going for a new fire truck. And so that's been my push along, was to keep the money in Saxon. I understand the need and the importance of the furnace. So I just point out that this is needed in Saxon.
So I'll defend my motion. I don't like to make motions, but I knew this was not going to be terrifically popular. Mine came from attending those ARPA meetings, which were very long, not the Saxtons River, which would have been much more comfortable for the residents here. But there was one series of meetings to update everybody. And we're talking a couple of years ago now. The projects that Saxtons River residents who attended were a walk bike path through the woods to Saxons River, the wood-fired boiler at Greater Rock, and funding for Main Street Arts. It's my feeling at this point that Main Street Arts is actually doing very well. I'm sure they would not say no if we made the decision to offer them funds. And given what they went through in COVID, it might be appropriate for us to do it. But of the three of those units, the one that really got to me is keeping urgent care open. And I think that without area support, that's really going to be challenging. This is Marty Gallagher's project. I checked in with her on the deadlines. She has moved her deadline out somewhat, but we are struggling with the fact that we must make a decision on our ARPA funds by the end of 2023. We can spend it in 2024, but we have to decide on it in 2023. So I do understand why fire and rescue is critical to me. And that's where the majority of our expenditure has already been made. And
so two things. I'd also point out that $10,000 going there could be the $10,000 going through the feasibility study in Saxon. The other, can you give me a rundown of the numbers again? You just wrote a check for $58,000 for the chassis.
Don't let me get away with that kind of stuff because I am notoriously bad with figures. Let's see. So here's the purchase and sales bill. That was interesting also. $58,531. That's for the cab chassis. That's the bill of sale as delivered to Faith Ford Material.
Okay, and then we're anticipating about $35,000 for the remount.
With a total of 92, so 92.
Right, that's when that's when the chassis was 75,000. It's a different chassis.
So you're thinking that figure may be less?
Right, we paid 58,535 or something?
Yep.
Okay, That's the chassis. Originally, it was 75,000.
Wow, they never go down.
Well, it's a different truck. It's a lighter weight truck. Because
This is
they-
the
they-
advantage of having somebody
they-
on the fire.
This is because the fire station needs to be rebuilt and they couldn't get a taller truck in the building. So we had to get a shorter truck. So I just want to know where we are before any of the money goes. So we got 58,500 and $35,000, give or take. We started with 148. Is that the
Yep.
number we started with?
148,910. So if you want to call it 149, it's not much of an exaggeration.
So, I guess we weren't too far. No, the numbers were such. So that's $93,000, 93,500, say.
How much left?
Right. So $55,000.
55,000 left, right?
Right. Okay. And then 10,000 will go. So $45,000 left after that. Right.
Yep,
That we still have to, when you said 10,000, you're saying 10,000 is the greater lot.
Well, that's
it's under
that's
discussion.
that's the proposal. Right. If that's where the money goes, then so.
And if I could interject, Matt had mentioned that the money for the feasibility study might come from here, and we had looked at that as a use of the ARPA funds too, so.
Well, right, well, what I'm getting at, again, is that we're whittling this down other places.
Right, I just want to point out that that might be something we need to do.
Right, depending on the accounts.
Yeah.
So, you know, the list of stuff that ARC supplied with is needed. You know, it would use all of that $45,000. You know, being on this fire committee that I'm on, hearing about all the struggles with the grants to get the new scuba gear, that's not gonna happen. So again, they are way behind. He's got a number down here, $36,000 just for, that's the breathing apparatus. Just pointing at it.
My thoughts are, if Amy went to a meeting and was getting feedback from people in the town, and the feedback from the town were the three things she mentioned, I would support the 10,000 to the greater Rockingham, because I do think people in our village use urgent care. So to me, it lines up with fire and rescue, because that's where we're possibly taking people as well.
Carl?
I have reservations about, processes where we look at sort of popularity in the community as a guide to how we should spend money that we need to think more objectively.
Popularity is a pretty loaded word there.
Okay, support, community support, which may be, you know, focusing on very different interests or very different considerations. So I think that a contribution, I don't think that we're not legally or under the terms of opera, we're not obligated to follow that. But I also don't think that in doing our job as trustees, we're obligated to follow that either. So that said, I do support some funding for the boiler.
So just to make it clear, and to reiterate what I think I heard you say, it is up to us to make this decision.
Yes.
We held those meetings for the purpose of discovering what people felt important issues were. it's been a while since those meetings, and I believe Rockingham has expended all of its, has allocated all of its. I don't know about Bellisville, they had a lot more to allocate. But in general, I think they picked infrastructure as over anything fancy or unusual. So, but you're right, it is up to us to make those calls. And unlike when are the sewer bills coming out, I have not gotten questions about ARPA. We had them during the annual meeting, which I thought was appropriate, and people asked at that point when we did. And I went back to read those minutes. We can also defer, and we're meeting twice a month now, but we have a number of meetings still to go. Marty does not need the money now. But I really didn't get to December and be fighting it out. But I'm happy to wait a month if you want to table a motion. However, we do have a motion and a second on the table.
One more question, or this is a question on these meetings that took place regarding ARPA funds were a consolidated meeting in Bellis Halls.
So they were held in the basement of the Opera House, and they were well attended. I mean, everybody's a Rockingham resident, obviously, but there were people who live in Saxtons River who went to those groups, and those were the people whose opinions we said. Those were, so they actually divided us up.
Right. But we didn't advertise and have a meeting in Saxon's River just for Saxon's residents.
We did not. Yeah. So this was professionally facilitated.
Oh yeah, I understand.
You remember?
I recall. Oh yeah,
it was confusing, and that's why we went. Yeah. I also feel like by now I'm a little more comfortable with the whole ARPA structure, which wasn't the case. Carl, you had some points to make.
Well, I was thinking that if we're not under pressure of time to make this decision, it might be good to hold off until we know about the accounts and where the feasibility study money might be coming from. Because we're committed to that. And I'm just a little bit nervous that I don't consider we have money unless I've got it as a coin in a jar on my dress, so I'm just a little bit, we've allocated $20,000 to this, but where is it really? Do we really know how much we have? So I'd like to have a better feel for.
Well, I'd like
the other places.
not to wait too long, so I would suggest that we consider this at the first meeting of October.
I have another question.
Okay. Time for lots of questions.
That is is part of the, because again, I do support urgent care, and I do think it's important for people in Saxons River. Is part of it for them to see that when they're writing a grant, that the area towns and people there are supportive? So would any amount be helpful? Doesn't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, I think that Marty said that any amount would be helpful. But I also consider chiefs have to raise a lot of money. And they have made the decision to their professional engineering studies. I haven't looked closely enough at that. So I know that she is doing reaching out to individuals for support. But I think you're right. The politics of area communities supporting this grant make it look really good. And as Jean remarked about the wind power sewer project, it is a value statement that we're supporting a wood boiler, which makes this building, which supports, an addiction treatment and urgent care.
I lost him.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we should have begun with a more general statement. So Greater Rock is is the old hospital that is at the top of Red Light Hill.
Right.
It's that sprawling building.
Yeah.
It's called Greater Rockingham Area Services,
Right.
or informally Greater Rock. So in the basement, there's a gym.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Upstairs, there's a big urgent care. There is a closed addiction treatment facility,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily only people from this area, but it's convenient if you have somebody there. What else is in it? It used to be HCRS. Fact TV is there.
Right.
So you know the building I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to be so, we've been agonizing over.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know where it was gonna be.
Yeah, so Marty Gallagher is the manager for Greater Rock, GRASS, they call it, Greater Rockingham Area Services. And a couple of years ago, she determined that if they were able to move from oil-powered fossil fuel burning to a wood-fired plant, it would transform her budget. So she's been working on that and made the big pitch 2 years ago to have area ARPA funds go to that project. But as we've rehashed for you, it is up to the select board to make that decision. Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. What do you think, Kristen? Do we want to table this until the October meeting, or do we want to make people vote on it now? Carl is reluctant. He often likes more time to consider these things.
I can respect that. If you're saying that we have a little bit of time, then we would have, perhaps all of the trustees.
Be nice to have Ellen Clark Lawrence's perspective. Yeah. All right, I move that we table this motion until the first meeting in October. We have nothing big at this moment scheduled for that meeting. I'm going to say it needs action, but I don't know. All those in favor of tabling the motion until the first meeting in October? Good. If we don't need action, it doesn't work, Carl.
Do we need a second
Second.
to your motion to table? Okay, thank you.
Must not have heard me.
I must not have, my hearing is gone.
Okay, thank you. And we are back to our agenda. We're moving right along. We've already discussed the payment source for the fire department feasibility study, and we are now up to the community updates. We will not have a wastewater treatment plant update. There's nothing to report on 37 Main Street, so we're up to Merck.
So the deadline is October 31st, and I hope to get the application in for all of it started on Wednesday when I was home.
So for the benefit of our audience, should we review what Merck stands for and what it actually means for us?
If you want to take a lead on that,
Sure.
you can.
So MPRP stands for Municipal Energy Resilience Program. It is being offered to every municipality in the state of Vermont to have an energy assessment done after big application for any buildings owned by the municipality. And there is the promise of the possibility of help making the energy adaptations that will make the building more resilient. At this point, I think we are fairly secure as a board that we think the wastewater treatment plant is fine just as it is, but that we are very concerned about the fire department. Those are the only two buildings that this municipality owns. So Kristen was willing to take this on, and she is facing, end of October deadline, and, some pretty awesome applications. So what do you need from us?
Well, I wanted to know if, people thought we should do like level 1 or level 2. Assessment is a different application for each one. A little bit more documentation is needed for the level 2 assessment. And I don't know if we have all of it, but Matt, I was thinking you might know because you know more about the fire department building, but if there's architectural drawings, lighting schedules, building mechanical, electrical plans.
Is that for the current building?
Yeah. For the current building.
It's been added on to a couple times.
It's the old trolley barn, right?
I mean, I can go to the town and see what they have in the lister's office. They might have a property card that shows something, and I'll submit that, or something else.
That sounds like a great solution. And it seems to me there must be other municipal buildings in the state of Vermont that are just like this. I mean, I'm thinking about, what you see for town halls and public libraries, and they're often, patched together and.
And then the other two, things I would need help with is electrical use and demand history for the last 3 years. And then fuel use for the last 3 years.
So we have invoices. Yeah, Green Mountain, the easiest is to do that with Green Mountain Power, and Inessa did that.
Okay.
For us.
And Coda.
And Coda.
They have
Yep, okay, yeah.
spit it out as far as LP fuel.
So why don't you start there, and I won't get rid of any invoices, means another, we should keep 3 years of invoices, but at least it's only 3. So Coda and Green Mountain Power. And I would go to Inessa on Green Mountain Power, there's an online.
Okay.
And I think you could go back.
Great,
Just
okay.
research.
Great, that, yeah.
Nice.
And, oh, go ahead.
Public.
No, you.
It's a worth it. How much can you get?
Not enough.
This is just a study to assess what our needs are and where we can make improvements. Then there's another grant application that's different, it's just if you wanted to try to fund some of the improvements. This is just a
Do
study.
you have any idea what that, if there are needs and you go for that grant, is there any idea how much is this from the state or from?
State of Vermont.
Yeah, how much will come?
And there's some question in my mind about how much we want to do to our current building. We've been talking for years about a new fire station. But, we made the decision 2 years ago to paint that building so it looked better. And so that, places the clapboards were falling off, we pushed them back. We pay a lot for oil to heat it. And, it's not like we make it a wonderful place, but it has to be warm enough so nothing freezes. And if we could get some recommendations for retrofitting what we've got, that might make a lot of sense. And it's a free audit. It's a free energy audit.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I think if we want to do the next step might be problematic because if we did apply for a grant to do anything, to get funds to fix anything, we probably would have to make the building ADA compliant. So this is just a free audit to see what we possibly can do. That might be easy.
Yeah. And I don't know about the Americans with Disability Act compliancy. Is it just dealing with steps to get in and steps to get down? We never use the second floor. It's horrible. Carl and I went.
Yeah.
It's condemned, it's good, so that's out of the question. Well, we've been up here.
Still no one, well, right, I think it's only supposed to be one or two people.
I didn't want to be there by myself.
You still have meetings of it.
Yeah, right.
So that's the other part, over the station. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not the
Areas
part
that-
where, not the part where we keep the records.
Yeah, not with the records act.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, I know.
yeah.
Does the village have a physical address or just a PO box?
It's 44, no, am I wrong? Is it 44 Main Street? I have a
Is
feeling.
that the fire department?
Yeah, I think so.
But what's the address of the village?
What's a post office?
The PO box on it.
243.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Although when I have to put down, so for
So again, that's
something,
a reference address for
Yeah.
the village.
I think we use the, I think we use the fire department, but I'm questioning, let me look it up. I'm wondering about the wastewater treatment plant.
I would think it-
No,
Because we have, in the past, we've had our meetings there, so that would be more. Keeping-
Yeah, I think that's what I did, so I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 44 Main Street is the fire department. I think that's it. I had to fill it out in paperwork. For our federal ID for ARPA, and that's the address. And if they need a member, I usually just use mine. Okay. As the chair. Louise always uses hers.
And I should use, Art Smith as the main person to contact when they schedule it.
Yeah, you might want to learn.
Yeah, I will, okay.
Okay, anything else we need to know? Oh, so you wanted to know level 1 or level 2? Okay. So,
one's the study.
They're both a study, but a level 2 gets you, that they'll come in with a
blower test?
test. I think that was the only thing that they said on that handout that was.
So.
You get enhanced safety calculations, blower door test included.
So, you know, the way the blower door test sometimes works is you have such a lousy situation that they give you more of a discount on any renovations you do. I mean, that's the way it works if you have that farmer come in and insulate your house. They do a door test initially, and then they do a door test at the end. And based on the difference, Green Mountain Power gives you a more generous rebate. You know, the worse you do, the greater the discrepancy, the better you do.
I don't know what to say about it.
Yes.
I'm sitting here with a deep admiration for you taking that amount of work on for a building that is so.
That sounds like a vote for level 1.
Keep it as simple as possible won't they tell you more? I mean, they'll either be sympathetic to the situation, Jesus, you really need help, or else it'll be like, give this up, I need that.
So what if you ask Margot Dia? She certainly knows the building. She's a big friend of Saxtons. Say that we're thinking level 1.
Okay.
And how much more would we get?
Okay.
And is it worth it? Be sure to ask.
Well,
is it
right, and like you said, the funding might be making it ADA compliant. So it would be good to know that.
Yeah, between this, the application for this pre-audit won't trigger anything in compliance. She said, if we took the next step, after we got the feedback and they said, you recommend some X, Y, and Z, here's another grant application, that was trigger. But are we definitely thinking of replacing the fire station building?
Well, the problem is the money.
Yeah.
The problem is.
That's
you
the
know,
whole feasibility, that's where the $10,000 is going, is
Yeah.
to study
We're-
all of Rocky.
Right, we're enmeshed in paying for the wastewater treatment. And that is a big fee, a lot of,
Yes.
I mean, we're
it is.
relatively
Hmm?
prosperous, but
Yeah.
it's a big fee for a lot. So the idea of bumping on another one, that would be very challenging. So that's,
So I
think why we're going with the feasibility.
Yeah.
study, because that's the issue, you know, whether you live in Brockway's Mills or,
So I don't mind either one or two.
but it's on you. So we'll start with level one. But
Well, I with one or the other.
then you have to do one of the next one.
Yeah, I'll talk to Margot and see what she thinks.
How much more of a pain is it going to be for you to do the level 2?
I mean, it says here. On their little sheet, but I am starting from ground zero because I don't have any of the backgrounds, on the building, but I 4 hours for level 2 theoretically.
I have another question. I mean, is there a deadline for that?
The October 31st. But they're saying that the sooner you can get it in, the better.
I mean, see, to me, I would wait till the feasibility study was done.
Yeah, we don't have that luxury.
Yeah, I mean, even a replacement would be a couple of years off, so. Yeah, it matters not to me which way you want to go with it.
I mean, if I can
Talk
gather
about
the information and she might say, just do the best you can on the level 2 and.
Yeah, and at this point, they've seen some of the applications coming in and taken a lot of questions, so she may have some valuable.
Yeah,
advice.
Okay.
I'm with our audience, so this is a big undertaking. Thank you so much for in your first year agreeing to do this.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm happy to. I will learn a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I haven't communicated with Art Smith, so I'll do it.
Yeah, he's great. He really is. The other thing is, even if we had a miraculous rescue of fire department, you know, VA said, hey, we didn't tell you, but we're just putting in a huge garage. Fire department can move there. I think there would still be a voice in town for keeping that building because it's historic. And that's our historic district. So. Okay, fire stations. Anything there? Okay. Minutes of August 7th. You sent them out? Yep. I had a chance to review them. Do you have any corrections you want to make? Okay. So would you like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the August 17th.
I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion?
I have actually a question.
Yeah.
So I wasn't at that meeting, so I did not vote on the, or is that?
Oh, you can still vote.
Okay.
Yes, you can still approve them based on your knowledge of Carl's efficacy and my vote, because otherwise we don't have a phone. Yeah. Comments from the audience? Okay,
I have one other question.
about the minutes? Hang on to it. Are we ready for a vote? All in favor of approving the minutes? Opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. The warrant. You want to talk? Make your other business comments or?
I just want to, probably take off, but I was talking to some people who were from Weston and had been to Ludlow, and we were talking about 2 feet of water in Main Street and talking about the Wesley Playhouse probably not being able to be ever used again, or and Shaw's still selling groceries out of a tent and things like that. And I had this question which is unanswerable, that if, you know, if this area had received the kind of rain that those areas had, what would have happened? Is no way, I mean, is there any way that we can answer that question? You know, if Saxon's River, for example, or Grafton had received that kind of rain, what, you know, would this wastewater treatment plant safe from that kind of inundation?
Yeah, so,
It's just that, you know, I don't think it's an answerable question.
well, I did ask about the wastewater treatment plant because I walked down and saw the river on July 10th and July 11th, and every time it rained hard after that. So I asked Josh Kemp. I had to go in and sign some paperwork at the Bellows Falls operation, and he said the water was really high, no question, but the plant was fine. So that's a small answer, and it's not a, you know, 8 inches of rain in 2 hours answer. I wasn't here during Irene. I was at the other end of the state. We survived that also.
Yeah, water went into the plant. That was before the new one was built, but it went through.
So Irene did inundate the sewer plant.
Some water, yeah, it came up over its banks and it traveled through that area.
Yeah, I read the water was up by the bridge. So,
Yeah, hitting the bottom of the bridge. Yeah.
coming over the top.
We had, you remember, year before last, we had another July storm that was really intense, and we had a wastewater treatment failure, an expensive component, and they went back and blocked it off, but they thought that the water somehow triggered that. Although, I mean, we lost some property up on Quarry Hill Road, and it wasn't a major event. Westminster had far more damage than we did. Do you remember the storm I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So we came through that one, but you know,
Maybe the changes made along the banks of the river helpful. But you know, I also talked to somebody he was one of those people, there are many in Vermont that had a nice little stream next to their house, and that nice little stream turned into a very, you know, just the driveway's gone, the whole thing.
yeah. Well, if you remember on along 121 during Irene, we lost properties, and bit by bit they were bought out. There was an effort to reforest along there to try and maintain the riverbank. But yeah,
It was road down there.
I mean, you know, it's for us, you know, for us, it's kind of strange, you know, that what you see what's going on in the rest of the state.
We on to approving the warrant?
well, I'm trying to get it up. That's the problem with Ellen not here. So let's see, she called it the warrant. Problem is I copy Ellen on everything that comes through here. Well, let's just see if there's anything that says a warrant. Oh, you know what? I can do it from her Google Documents. That's what I can do. Okay, so this is the warrant. I wasn't smart enough to print this out ahead of time for September 11th, 2023. Want to review it? You have it on your computer? You want me to share it?
Well, I don't have Zoom up.
Okay. Oh, so you don't need to. Yeah, let me just make sure, however, that we aren't showing one small bill that we've been discussing. So the Faiths Ford bill is $58,531. That's already been paid. It was approved at a previous meeting. So when you said we need to write the check, I wrote the check, or Anessa wrote the check. I ran it down, and it actually ended up, just because the finance department wasn't there, we had Art Smith sign for it. I was headed out of town. They weren't going to be in until 9:30 or 10, so we agreed Art Smith had the authority to do that. Faith Ford, J&H Hardware. So I am going to subtract this Pinnacle View. Can I alter this? Well, it's 110.78. So let us subtract it from the bottom line. I have a feeling that, yeah, I'm view only. So the total is 67,172.34 less 110.78. So I make that $67,061.56.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant, $67,061.56.
Second. Are there any questions? Hearing none. We have a motion on the floor to approve the warrant for $67,061.56. All in favor? All opposed? And it carries unanimously. Okay. Other business.
I have one.
Good.
Just something I think we could possibly take action if you feel it's important. So I couldn't help but noticing that Bells Falls had a lot of paving done, which they do, paving projects. So it's their turn to get paving down there. They're milling in their streets and putting 2 coats of asphalt on. Here in Saxons River, they're doing a shim coat and doing that awful chip seal on top of it.
Is there paving happening in Saxtons River now?
No.
This is 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm just wondering why St. Patrick doing a different job at Bells Falls than Saxon. We're getting a cheap version.
I think that's a great question for the tri-board meeting.
And if you want to take action on it, I think the board needs to send a letter. I mean, Rockingham and Bells Falls, they're talking all the time. They don't ask us about paving, they tell us they're going to pave.
Yeah, but we have the tri-board meeting and it's coming up. So I think this would be very appropriate to bring up. I wonder if it might have to do with the infusion of federal funds into paving right at the moment.
Could be. But we don't get the, it's like Pleasant Street, you got chip seal. And we all know what that is, right? they just put down liquid tar and they dump stones on top of it and they roll it. That's our new service, ask anyone. That's riding a bicycle and it's for, you know.
Geez,
summer
don't let
months.
that get out.
For the summer months is just terrible. So I just thought now, and it's like, well, they're doing what you should do, because the milling, which is the ground up, you know, certain thickness there, they put down a base coat, which is a coarser asphalt, and then they put a smoother.
Yeah, so let's go in curious and wondering and see what they say. So, do you want me to put that on the agenda?
Sure.
Okay, so we are at the point, well, it's actually the next thing, milling versus chip seal. Roads all over Rockingham, but especially Saxtons River.
I do have a question.
Yep,
The maps, the village maps,
yes.
are they in the works to be put on the website?
I think the first thing that was going to happen is that Jeff Nugent was going to make them into one cohesive unit, and I haven't heard anything more about that.
Because there's some that haven't been tagged as village property.
So I will ask about that, and we do have a webmaster. So once we have a PDF that's ready to post, it's easy to do. But I haven't, completely slipped my mind that Jeff Nugent said.
I think I was looking there recently and it's up, so okay.
Yeah, you have the actual physical maps, right?
Yeah.
So if you
need or want to study them.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'll find out about that. I brought with me, and maybe we've already signed it, yes, the municipal delinquent tax property, good. So also on other business, we actually have people here tonight. You want to continue meeting here? And we never had anybody on Zoom. Except one, no, that isn't true. We had Rob and we had an Inessa on Zoom, but nobody else. Yeah. What's your feeling?
Fine for that.
Meeting here?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll be at the fire station.
No, I want to be at home.
Yeah. And I have no idea. We're good till January 2024 if we wanted to go back to remote only. But I mean, I'm kind of encouraged that people came. Now, two of those people would come via remote if we went back to remote. But I don't know about the other two. And it felt good to have the discussion here with us in the same space. Okay, so leave it as is. Okay. MSA asked for the purposes of their calendar.
I just wonder, is it worth doing remote and in person?
Yes, for one big reason. Doing it that way means that they have a record at Fact TV, and a number of people watch us on YouTube. So the other thing is I should get a quote for an owl, because if we're going to try and do both, the owl does make it. That was the one suggestion from Fact TV. If you guys had an owl, it would look a lot better on television.
What's an owl?
So an owl is a little column about this high that somehow, I looked at specs for it today. It's taken over municipal meetings all over the state. And it captures all of our images, but it puts up on the screen the last two people who talked. So the person who's talking and the last person who talked. So it means that you have an automated way to capture what is happening. Instead of this static thing that sits at the end, you have a little thing right there. And I saw prices from $1,000 down to $300. So I need to talk to some people about what we could get away with. But if we're gonna continue to meet and broadcast, and am I the only one who feels that that's important? I mean,
What's that, in person?
having
Oh.
a YouTube version of the meeting available.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I use the recording, either the Zoom or the YouTube every time.
Yeah.
To verify the minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could keep using this, you know, but, let's see if I had anything else. Okay, so just to run by, so we're on to number 14, next meetings and topics. So September 18th is a week from tonight. That's the meeting we discussed. I will try to attend, but it'll be by Zoom. So you should be prepared to run the meeting.
Okay.
And we better work on those credentials ahead of time so that you are an author. So,
What's September 18th?
September 18th is our next
Okay,
meeting, because we're back to 2 meetings a month.
Okay, fine.
I wonder if we'll have anything to meet on. Well, we'll try. Tuesday, September 26th at 6 p.m. is the tri-board meeting. So that is a Tuesday, and it's in Rockingham, but there is a Zoom option. I always have the feeling that since so many people are present in the room, it's more effective if we're there. But
yeah.
if it's hard for you to get in, just go by Zoom.
6 PM, I will not be.
Yeah.
I can't make the 6 o'clock.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What time?
6 p.m.
6.
The same place it was last time?
So it's in the basement of the Bellows Falls office.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you go in through the side door.
Tuesday the 26th.
Yep.
6 p.m.
And I have the milling versus chip seal. And the other thing that's come my way is making Route 5 more bike friendly and pedestrian friendly. There's a move on to do a survey. And they
Route 5 or 121?
Route 5. So it's not particularly local. This is coming down from the state. Route 5. So the next meetings would be October 2nd and 16th, November 6th and 20th, and December 4th and 18th. I don't think any of those are holidays, but I'd be happy to be corrected. Main Street Arts would like to book this space and continue advertising our meetings. So, okay. All right. I think we're ready to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting was recorded by Falls Area Community Television, located at 1 Hospital Court, Bellows Falls, Vermont. If you would like a copy of the meeting, our phone number is 802-463-1613, or email us at fact810@gmail.com. Falls Area Community TV, keeping government honest.